Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Friday edition of our show. We made it through another week. Appreciate you, each and every one of you, stopping by to listen to my thoughts on everything athletics baseball. Today is Friday, January 16th. We got a good show for you. Yesterday, the International Signing Day has come and gone. The A's ended up adding 3 of MLB Pipeline's top 50 international prospects. We get to know who they are and what impact they may bring to the organization. We have a report date for pitchers and catchers and discuss the details surrounding that. Before getting out of here for the weekend, we're taking it back to the 2000s decade for this week's edition of This Player in A's History. We've got a great one today, talking about former MLB great right-handed pitcher Tim Hudson. Holy Toledo, let's go A's. All right, there, A's Day fans. Thank you once again for tuning in to our Friday edition of our show this week. Appreciate you kicking off your weekend, listening to our sights and sounds, keeping you up to date on the latest on everything in A's universe. Before we jump into today's show, just want to give a reminder of where you can find us outside of our podcast episodes that are available twice per week on wherever you like to listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcast, Spotify Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, so many more. A's Day is there for your listening pleasure. Appreciate all of your support. Additionally, check us out on our social media platforms on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for video editions of our episodes, as well as A's player interviews, A's Destination Baseball City virtual guides, and so much more to come in 2026. Be sure to check out our content on our YouTube channel. It is really going to take off this year. Excited for what we have lined up. And to become an official subscriber of A's Day, check out our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day. For just $2 a month, you'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are able to grow this platform collaboratively. All right, let's jump into our first topic of discussion today. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, yesterday was the International Signing Day across the board for all major league teams. And we're going to look at it from the scope of what the A's were able to accomplish. It seems like they had a very fruitful day. The A's acquired one of the most hyped international prospects of this century when they landed Leo DeVries last July as part of the Mason Miller trade deadline blockbuster. Now, they're adding another highly touted shortstop from the Dominican Republic to their ranks in Yohensi Colome, the number 5 overall prospect in the 2026 international class. Joining Colome as top-tier signings as the period opens will be fellow Dominican shortstop Ricky Duran, who is the number 33 prospect, and Venezuelan catcher Jose Perdomo, number 45. That marks the first time since 2016 that the A's have signed at least 3 members of MLB Pipeline's top 50 prospects list, continuing their recent strong run under Steve Sharp, the club's director of international scouting. The A's received $7,357,100, the second highest bonus pool allotment this year, with Colome expected to command a sizable chunk, according to a source who also said Duran will receive north of $1 million and Perdomo will command $675,000. Colome's all-around skill is so exciting, and his continued development since landing on scouting radars is so immense that he's earned high marks for the ability to leverage the ball in the box like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and display a defensive, silky smoothness like Manny Machado. Not a bad pair to be compared to, without a doubt. A right-handed hitter, Colome does something unique for a teenage prospect: crush home runs. His hands are dynamic, and though he's aggressive at the dish, he routinely barrels the ball up. He is the son of former MLB reliever Jesus Colome, who pitched for 4 different teams across 10 seasons. Yohensi comes from a baseball-loving family, counting his cousin, former big league reliever Alex Colome, and 2 minor league prospects who are uncles on his mom's side as veterans of the game. At number 5 overall, Colome becomes the highest-ranked A's player signed on the international market since 2023, when they landed former top 100 overall prospect Luis Morales, who is projected to be in the A's starting rotation this upcoming season. Duran features, as we move along to the next prospect out of these three high top-tier prospects that the A's were able to sign, Duran features a skill set that's more solid across the board. One evaluator noted that he might pan out at a similar rate to Willy Adames, who never put up huge numbers in the minors before blossoming into a three-time 30-plus home run hitter in the big leagues as he reached his prime. Duran has tons of bat speed and presently sprays the ball from gap to gap, working with the whippy type of swing that excites evaluators. Known as a tremendously hard worker, Duran has improved significantly on the defensive side of the ball over the past few years. There's a chance he sticks at shortstop, but if competition forces him around the infield, he has the tools and stick-it-to-iveness to adapt. As we move along, the other top-tier prospect, Perdomo, is the younger brother of 2024's number 4 international prospect, also named Jose. While his brother joined the Braves organization, Jose comes aboard with the A's, having drawn rave reviews for his instincts behind the dish and ability to work with pitchers. His hit tool will need some polish as he enters pro ball, but there's tons of raw power coiled up in his right-handed swing, and the baseball pedigree will certainly work out in his favor. All the above players are expected to make their professional debuts in the Dominican Summer League, a club that made a run to the DSL Cup last summer. Edgar Montero, the A's number 23 prospect, was one of the circuit's premier hitters after repeating the level, bumping him into the club's top 30 prospects list. Also signed during the 2024 international class was left-hander Franco Zabaleta, who won DSL Pitcher of the Year honors after posting a .51 ERA across 11 outings. After landing a pair of the top 20 international prospects in 2025, in addition to the surprise blockbuster signing of two-way standout Shotaro Mori, 10 of the Athletics' top 30 prospects are from the international market. The organization has also made significant inroads in Asia, further strengthening what is shaping up as one of the game's most balanced farm systems. So I was definitely looking forward to seeing what the results were out of this international signing day, and the A's continue to kill it in this department. Their farm system is flowing with young talent that is, still, I'd say a couple to a few years away. And yet the young core that they're assembling at the major league level is balancing out well with young depth in their minor league system, continuing to develop on a season-to-season basis. What you're hearing is a wonderful formula called a balanced organization in terms of player development. And hats off to them. That's an area that the A's have improved upon tremendously, especially over the last, I'd say, 3 to 5 years, it seems like. But now the A's seem to be garnering these top-tier prospects and are assembling them, and now have the opportunity to develop them in their image, and for them to have the same unified message, so that as their development continues to ascend them through the minor league levels, they'll have the objective understand playing within the philosophy of the team's dynamics, and will be able to make an impact when their name is called at the major league level. It's an exciting day for the A's without a doubt. Colomé is definitely the big fish prospect here in this situation, and really curious to see how long his development takes until we see this guy and any of the international signings that they did make. But getting 3 inside the top 50, now at the end of the day, it's nothing to get super overjoyed, because at the end of the day, until they go out there and prove it between the lines at each level, they are just that, a prospect, which is high potential. But you never know. Prospects sometimes work, sometimes they flounder out, and sometimes they end up some in the middle. Everyone's pathway and results do vary. So very intrigued to see how these all shape out. But for the top 3 and for all the international signings that the A's made, welcome to the organization, and looking forward to tracking their progress starting in the DSL and seeing where they go on from there. But thought that was a nice way to start this episode with some positive news, without a doubt, that the A's continue to build and add very strong, talented players to their farm system. There's a lot of excitement in the present, but the future continues to be abundantly bright. So looking forward to seeing how this puzzle continues to shake out. All right, moving along, we are now aware all the teams yesterday also announced their spring training mandatory report dates. We finally know the exact date that the A's will be getting together. As always, the pitchers and catchers draw the short end of the stick and have their off seasons in early. reporting to camp days before their position player teammates are expected to arrive. Some position players, and it seems like more of a trend now, that all these players arrive earlier than expected anyway, building that camaraderie, getting those early reps in so that they feel they are full send and ready to go for the 2026 season and any season, but it's not the mandatory expectation. Turns out that we are now under a month away from seeing our A's get together for the first time. Pitchers and catchers are expected to report no later than February 11th. Pitchers and catchers, if you're not familiar, get together because they need to begin building rapport with one another as early as possible. Catching dozens of different pitchers can be hard mentally for backstops. However, I think for the A's, they're going to be in a good situation here. They've had this built-up camaraderie over the last year with this younger pitching staff, but I think you're still going to have the same battery mates at the top of the pecking order for the A's and Shea Langoliers and projected backup Austin Wynns. So I think that level of familiarity is something that's going to be a benefit for a younger A's team, but now with a year of experience under their belt, now they can have a better understanding of having to navigate opposing hitting lineups and getting them out on a more consistent basis. I think that's a good time to see if any pitchers come in with developed new pitches. Maybe there's more movement, less movement, more velocity, kind of getting a gauge on where each guy is at for that specific season. Because while they will be able to compile a certain set of results from the year prior, it is a year-to-year league, so things can change. The ones that are mainstays and last for a long time consistently will have a pretty consistent performance across the board of where they typically will end up, and the team can count on that consistent production. The guys that kind of have that roller coaster of kind of a statistical back of the baseball card are the guys that you'll see sometimes get shuffled back and forth between AAA and the major leagues. Sometimes they get bounced around the league, things like that. Well, all that being said is that we're excited, being here on January 16th. We're under a month away until the A's are going to be down in Mesa, Arizona, ramping up for another season. And I know we were excited at this time last year, kind of garnering higher expectations than the result outcome. But hey, they still ended up adding more wins to the win total, adding 7 from the year prior. If they do that again this year, certainly can see them being in the midst of at least some wild card discussions. And depending on how the division shakes out, you never know if they'll be in that running come September too as well. Lots of excitement here, a young lineup, and we're excited at a soon but later date. We're going to do a full spring training preview. We're going to break down some different positional battles to keep an eye on and some players to take a note of that maybe the spring training is a little bit more important to some of the others, some of the veteran mainstays that'll be looking to get their reps in preparation for the season. We'll talk about some guys that are looking to land jobs, some guys that are looking for specific roles. We'll have a fun episode at that later date. This episode is brought to you by the Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena. Stay in the heart of downtown at Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena, ideally located near Old Sacramento Waterfront, Golden One Center, and Downtown Commons, DoCo. Our full-service Sacramento hotel is just 15 minutes from Sacramento International Airport and within walking distance of the California State Capitol and Safe Credit Union Convention Center. Host meetings, conferences, and social events in our flexible boardrooms and ballrooms supported by experienced on-site sales and event teams. Enjoy modern amenities including a rooftop outdoor pool, on-site fitness center, and Cypress Grill restaurant serving breakfast, dinner, and cocktails. Guest rooms and suites feature comfortable workspaces and contemporary amenities, city views making them ideal for both short stays and extended visits. Whether you are attending an event, planning a meeting, or exploring Sacramento dining, entertainment, and cultural attractions, our downtown location keeps you close to it all. Downtown access, full-service comfort, easy booking. Stay at our downtown Sacramento hotel. All right, moving along here for this week's edition of This Player in A's History. As promised on our last episode, we were taking it back to the 2000s decade. Today, we tell this journey of one part of perhaps the most famous pitching trio in A's franchise history, one of the big three, and in the A's Hall of Fame inducted this year, right-handed pitcher Tim Hudson. Timothy Adam Hudson was born July 14, 1975 in Columbus, Georgia. He was raised in Salem, Alabama, a rural community on the east central side of the state near Auburn. His father, Ronnie, was a plant supervisor at a cereal box factory, and his mother, Sue, was a homemaker. Hudson played youth baseball in nearby Phoenix City, Alabama at age 8. In a Sports Illustrated article in 2000, writer Jeff Pearlman captured Hudson's first appearance on a pitching mound. Because it is 1984 and he is 9, Tim Hudson is Timmy Hudson, a wisp of a boy barely big enough to ride the town fair's tilt-a-whirl. Little Timmy Hudson is a dynamic athlete, quick and fast and graceful, but clearly not a pitcher. Just look at him. Arms like pipe cleaners, legs like twigs. Look at how his Phoenix City Cubs uniform hangs off his shoulders like a potato sack. Look at his munchkin hands and Tweety Bird feet. Look at him on the mound pitching against the Indians. He has never done this before. It shows. He walks the first batter, the second, the third, and the fourth. He hits 2 others. His teammates wilt in the blazing Alabama sun as pitch after pitch misses the plate, as hitters flop back from his wildness. Hudson said he was terrible but didn't care. He loved it. Hudson would not pitch again until he was a junior at Glenwood High School in Phoenix City. By then, at 5'11" and 145 pounds, he played shortstop and center field and was an excellent hitter. He was also a starting cornerback on the high school football team. He helped lead the baseball team to the Alabama State championships in both his junior and senior years, and his football teams to 2 state championships during his years on the team. With no scholarship offers, however, Hudson enrolled at Chattahoochee Valley Community College in Phoenix City, where in 2 seasons he became one of the nation's top junior college ball players. He was a starting pitcher who threw hard and also batted third as a designated hitter. Hudson's junior college pitching performance put him on the scouting map. He was drafted by the Oakland Athletics in the 35th round of the 1994 free agent draft, but did not sign. Instead, he headed to Auburn University. In a 2014 story, writer Eno Saris noted Hudson's ability to learn new pitches and quickly add them to his repertoire, beginning with the summer before he pitched for Auburn when he learned to throw a split-finger fastball. The first thing Tim Hudson did to become Tim Hudson was learn the splitter that summer before he went to Auburn. There's no great backstory, no grandpa behind the barn. He was just messing around the bullpen one day before a game, threw a couple because he didn't have a changeup. Threw it in the game a couple of times and got some swing and misses. Hudson told later that month, "I've been throwing it ever since, and it's gotten better every year." At Auburn, Hudson played outfield and pitched for the Tigers and excelled under the tutelage of Coach Hal Bayard. During the 1997 season, Hudson hit .396 with 18 home runs and 95 RBIs. He was named first team All-Southeast Conference as an outfielder. As a pitcher, he had a record of 15-2 with a 2.97 ERA, good enough to be named the SEC Player of the Year and an All-American. He was selected by the Athletics in the 6th round of the amateur draft in June and signed with the club less than 2 weeks later. He was assigned to the short-season Class A Northwest League, where he continued to excel, going 3-1 with an ERA of 2.51 and a whip of .94 for the Southern Oregon Timberjacks. The next year, he was promoted to the Modesto A's of the California League and the AA Huntsville Stars of the Southern League. He finished with a combined record of 14-9 and an ERA of 3.97. He started 1999 in Class AA with Midland, Texas, as the A's had switched their AA affiliate to the Texas League team. Hudson soon earned the promotion to the AAA Vancouver Canadians. He went a combined 7-0 with a 1.75 ERA and a 1.06 whip. Hudson would go on to eventually make his major league debut in that 1999 season on June 8th, starting against the San Diego Padres at Jack Murphy Stadium. In 5 innings, he allowed 7 hits, struck out 11 batters, walked 4, and gave up 3 earned runs. He did not factor into the decision. In his rookie season, Hudson made 21 starts with a record of 11-2 and 136 in the 3rd innings pitched, an ERA of 3.23 and an ERA plus of 142. He was named the Sporting News American League Rookie Pitcher of the Year and finished 5th in the American League Rookie of the Year vote. He was on a fast track to big league success without a doubt. In Hudson's second year with the Athletics, he performed even better than his rookie year. He completed the regular season with a record of 20-6, which was good for a .769 winning percentage and 202 in the 3rd innings pitched with a whip of a 1.24. He was an all-star and finished 2nd in the American League Cy Young Award voting. The A's would go on to win the American League West, but lose in the division series to the Yankees. Hudson made 1 start in that series, taking the loss in Game 3. It was the first of 4 consecutive division series losses for Oakland, each series going to a decisive Game 5. The year 2000 was also the first year of what would be soon to be known as the Big Three, mentioned a few moments ago, a trio of young starting pitchers assembled of Tim Hudson, Mark Mulder, and Barry Zito, all drafted by Oakland and came up through the organization's farm system to become highly effective in the major leagues. The big three stayed together in the rotation through 2004. In 2001, Hudson continued to be durable and effective, making 35 starts and finishing with a record of 18-9 in 235 innings. The A's finished second in the West and lost another division series to the Yankees. Hudson started and won Game 2 of that series, shutting out the Yankees in 8 efficient innings. Hudson was also effective in 2002, going 15-9 with a 2.98 ERA in 238 and a third innings. He started Game 1 of the ALDS against the Twins and came away with a no decision. He had a second start in Game 4 and was charged with the loss. The A's would go on to lose the series in 5 games. Hudson played a key role in the Athletics' historic 20-game winning streak that season. On August 14th, he started and won the second game of the streak, a 4-2 victory over the Toronto Blue Jays in Oakland. He won again 5 days later in Cleveland, pitching 8 and a third innings in an 8-1 A's win. In his next start on August 24th in Detroit, Hudson pitched a complete game, striking out 7, walking 1 in a 12-3 victory. On August 30th in Oakland, he was the winning pitcher of record in a 4-2 triumph over the Minnesota Twins. Hudson was the starting pitcher on September 4th as the A's, in search of consecutive win number 20, took the field against the Kansas City Royals in front of 55,528 fans at Network Associates Coliseum, at that time the largest crowd to ever see a regular season baseball game in Oakland. Hudson cruised through the first 3 innings, giving up no runs and only 2 hits, a single by Brent Maine in the second inning and a double by Michael Tucker in the third. Meanwhile, the A's offense had exploded for 11 runs, including 6 in the first, 1 in the second, and 5 more in the third. Things, however, began to unravel for Hudson and the A's in the 4th inning as the Royals scored 5 runs on 5 hits, only 2 of the runs being earned, an error by A's shortstop Miguel Tejada helping the Royals' cause. Hudson got out of the inning by striking out Carlos Beltran and pitched the next 2 innings with no further damage. In the 7th, he got 2 quick outs and then gave up 2 singles and was lifted for reliever Chad Bradford. The Royals scored 5 more runs in the 8th inning and tied it in the top of the 9th. In the bottom of the 9th, in a scene dramatically depicted in the film Moneyball, A's pinch hitter Scott Hatteberg hit a solo home run to win the game. In his 5 starts during the winning streak, Hudson was 4-0 with a 2.15 ERA in 37 2/3 innings pitched. Hudson had what would be called his best year in 2003. He was 16-7 with a 2.70 ERA, a career best ERA plus of 165, and a career high 240 innings, and a career low WHIP of 1.08. His WAR of 7.4 was the 3rd highest among American League pitchers. He made 2 starts against the Boston Red Sox in the ALDS. He received a no decision in the A's extra inning victory in Game 1 and pitched only 1 inning in Game 4 before injuring his left oblique. He was also effective in 2004 but made only 27 starts due to a mid-season left oblique strain that put him on the shelf for 45 days, his first trip to the disabled list in his career. However, the offseason brought a shock. On December 12th, the A's traded Hudson to the Atlanta Braves for 3 lesser-known players in Juan Cruz, Dan Meyer, and Charles Thomas. The Athletics soon traded Mulder to the St. Louis Cardinals, further breaking up the Big Three. Zito would end up signing with the San Francisco Giants as a free agent after the 2006 season. The trade was stunning. In 6 years with Oakland, Hudson was one of the best pitchers in the major leagues. At that point, he had a record of 92-39, which was good for a 7.02 winning percentage, and 183 starts with 16 complete games, a WHIP of 1.22, and a 1.36 ERA plus. He tied for the American League lead in shutouts twice and had already compiled a WAR of 31. Hudson told Sports Illustrated that the trade at the time required emotional adjustment. He was quoted as saying, "My wife Kim and I loved Oakland so much. The relationships we built with teammates, with fans. I had a pretty hard time with the trade for the first few days. Kim had a really hard time. All the wives were calling her and crying. She was crying. But Atlanta was the one place that if I was going to get traded, I would be happiest. It makes the transition a little easier." Hudson would go on to play 9 more seasons with the Braves and 2 more with the Giants. Hudson's penultimate career start came on September 26, 2015 in an emotional appearance against the Athletics before more than 36,000 fans at the Coliseum, once known as Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. Hudson was matched up against friend and former teammate Barry Zito, who had spent nearly all of the 2015 season pitching for the AAA Nashville Sounds, and was called up by the Athletics just the week before. The Giants won the game and neither pitcher lasted more than 2 innings, but the ovations for both were loud and frequent. Former Big Three teammate Mark Mulder was at the game to deliver the ceremonial first pitch with Hudson and Zito. Hudson's final Major League appearance came on October 1st against the Los Angeles Dodgers at AT&T Park. in 2 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 3 hits, struck out 1, walked 2, and gave up 3 earned runs. After giving up a single to Howie Kendrick, he was replaced by Jeremy Affeldt, who made his final Major League appearance 3 days later. Hudson's career record was 222 wins against 133 losses with a 625 winning percentage. His ERA was 3.49. Other highlights include 3,126 and 2/3 innings pitched, 120 ERA plus, a WHIP of 1.24, and 57.9 WAR. He made 4 All-Star teams, which were in 2000 and 2004 with the A's, 2010 with the Braves, and 2014 with the Giants. In 17 Major League seasons, his winning percentage fell below 500 only twice. He is one of only 21 pitchers in Major League history to win at least 200 games, strike out 2,000 batters, and have a winning percentage over 600. In 2018, Hudson was named to the Atlanta Braves Hall of Fame and the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. He was named volunteer assistant and pitching coach at Auburn in 2020. This past September in 2025, he was inducted into the Athletics Hall of Fame, along with Mark Mulder and Barry Zito, sending the Big Three all in together to be enshrined forever. Tim and Kim Hudson now live in Auburn with their 3 children, Kennedy, Tess, and Cade. The Hudson Family Foundation's website provided some detail about Hudson's post-career life. In his free time, Hudson enjoys coaching son Cade's baseball teams and spending time at his farm. Kim Hudson practices law in an Auburn-based real estate and estate planning-centered firm and volunteers for local nonprofit agencies. Baseball author Jay Jaff aptly summarized Hudson's playing career. He's not Hall of Fame material, but there's no shame in that. Tim Hudson was a damn good pitcher who contributed to several winning teams that had hard luck in the playoffs, but he stuck around long enough to play a significant role on a championship team and left his mark in all 3 cities he pitched. So those are all glowing quotes, and that's why I wanted to end with this segment of This Player in A's History, because Tim Hudson, besides being one of the greatest pitchers in A's history, even over such a smaller sample size compared to the amount of seasons that some of these A's pitchers have completed during their time with the franchise, Hudson was just absolutely dominant. I mean, being able to assemble a 31 WAR in 6 seasons and nearly have 100 wins already. I mean, I don't even know what they were doing at the time of the trade, but I think it ended up benefiting Hudson in the long run, because I think Atlanta is a great place to go for a pitcher to continue to develop and continue to have that longevity. Because no matter how good you are, there is going to be a point for everyone in their career is going to be met with that sign of path of least resistance. So they're going to have a decision to make. Or they keep going to do the same things over and over again until their opponents catch up and find a way to defeat you? Or are you going to play this game of adjustments and keep on basically improving upon the version of yourself until it's time to hang them up? And I think Hudson was the pure definition of adaptability. After finding a home in Oakland, going up in their system, really setting their roots there, suddenly having to pick up, go to Atlanta. Not only does it work out, but you're one of their franchise greats in terms of right-handed pitchers too as well, enshrined in both teams' Hall of Fames. And to me, it's amazing. I think Hudson is going to always live on that edge of debate of whether he should be in the Hall of Fame or not. And I think his longevity of the 17 seasons and being sub 3.5 ERA over time, I know, didn't necessarily have 300 wins, but especially in the modern game, you're not going to see anyone get into the 300 win plateau for a long time, in my opinion. Just with how pitchers aren't pitching as long in terms of innings, but then also guys having an increase in injuries, it seems like, with an increased focus on velocity as compared to pitching. Hudson is someone that I feel like, especially in the era that he came up with, facing against a lot of these guys that were known steroid users, and I'm sure there's more out there that we're not aware of too as well. Being as effective as he was in that era of baseball, I think speaks even more volumes to me too as well. So hopefully we have an episode on here where we talk about Tim Hudson getting into the Hall of Fame in some capacity. But nevertheless, it was an absolute pleasure sharing his journey and his story for one of the franchise's greatest pitchers to ever put on the green and gold. And with that brings us to the conclusion of another edition of A's Day. Again, appreciate kicking off your Friday whenever you're listening to this. This is our Friday edition, so hope this is a great start to your weekend. On today's show, we talked about the A's securing 3 of MLB Pipeline's top 50 international prospects. We discussed who they were, a little bit about their scouting report, and what impact they may have on the A's organization. Later, we discussed the official report date of being February 11th for pitcher and catchers required to be down in Mesa for the A's. A lot of guys, I'm sure, are going to be down there well before that. I'm sure there's guys already down there prepping for the 2026 season, but always exciting that we are under a month away from that. So those are the true first sights and sounds of baseball. Spring training, it's a wonderful experience, being able to have that feeling of a renewed awakening of new opportunities for our great game. And then before wrapping up, we continued on with this week's edition of This Player Days History, taking it back to the 2000s decade, talking about right-handed pitcher Tim Hudson. We'll be back behind the mic for Tuesday's show, and we'll discuss any transactions that may go down. We're wondering if an internal extension is going to be completed or if the A's are going to add any depth to their bullpen. Things have been quiet on the rumor mill, but maybe things will get generated up over the weekend. We'll be back behind the mic on Tuesday to update you on any transactions that do go down. And then we'll take a look at their division. How do the A's, as currently constructed, stack up against the AL West heading into 2026? We'll take a look at their AL West opponents, some moves and subtractions that have gone on in this offseason and where they are projected to finish for 2026, and give our thoughts from there. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for spending part of your day listening to my thoughts on A's baseball. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll be back behind the mic real soon talking more A's for Tuesday's show. Holy Toledo, let's go A's.